And before you watch, warning, this is stand-up, this is comedy. I will be using strong language, there will be some cursing, so this is PG-16 or PG-18, whatever. Don't watch with your kids around, don't watch at office with your volume high, be careful. So this is like in the stand-ups, sometimes I say strong words, don't be offended, this is formula. Have fun, enjoy, thank you. So here we are, board game stand-up as advertised. First of all, it's a few anecdotes from the history of portal games. So the most important news, the things that I'm discussing here today, they really happened. It will be hard for you to believe, but these are real stories. And the other thing, when you are doing stand-up, you have a living audience that's hopefully laughing. I'm pre-recording it, so I'm recording it here in a super empty room, being alone with camera. So there might be a lack of energy from the audience. I have a huge imagination. I can imagine people laughing out loud from my jokes, but well, we'll see if the energy is here, if I can generate the fake audience energy. We will see. I have with me my friend Steven Bonacor. I printed him, smiled, so at least he will smile from my jokes. Steven, you're sitting here. He has a front row chair and he's smiling. I'm already in a good mood. So we start in Szczecin. Szczecin, let's start with the Polish city that has the name that you will not believe it's true. But it is true. Szczecin, can I have a post-production to write it down so you can believe? Szczecin is in North Poland. It's like 7-8 hours from my home, from my offices. And me and Michael Oracz are at a convention in Szczecin in 1999, 21 years ago. Company just started. We go to every single convention in Poland to promote the brand. It's times before Facebook, before YouTube. You had to go to meet people. You had to go to promote the brand. So we are there 2 days at the convention, super tired. Finally, the convention is over, and we are at the train station. Back then, I couldn't afford the fuel for the car to go that far, so we just had 2 train tickets, and we are at the train station. 21 years ago, for all of you youngsters who don't remember that, because there is no chance for you to remember, back then we didn't have smartphones, back then we didn't have a Nintendo Switch, back then when you were at the train station and when you were waiting for the train, you were just sitting, staring at the wall. So we were enjoying our stay at the train station, staring at the wall, amazing Polish wall. I could talk hours about how amazing it was. Anyway, after some time, we are super bored, but after some time we finally hear the announcement, all passengers for the train to Katowice, please go to the platform number 2. And we are like, finally, I'm getting my backpack, Michael is getting his backpack, and home, we are finally going. We go to the platform number 2, the train is there. We enter the train, we go into the wagon. Dark, there is no lights yet. We are the first in the train, so we high five each other. I told Michael, we are the first ones. Which seat you want to reserve? And we pick a wagon. We see it's a little bit creepy without the lights, but well, it is night train to Georgia. It is night train to my home, so we are very happy we'll be sleeping anyway for these 7 hours. We have 30 more minutes to start the journey, but then 7 hours and we'll be at home. The train starts, which is quite weird because, as I said, we have 30 minutes yet to start, and we look through the windows and we see that we are leaving the train station, and we are like, this is strange. Still darkness, still no lights, still we are, at this very moment we are not the first passengers in the train. At this very moment we realize that we are the only passengers in the train, which is quite important change in the wording. And we are leaving train station in some random direction that is definitely not direction of our home. We are taking our backpacks and we start running through the wagon to another wagon to find anybody, any living soul. We are the only passengers in this train. This is fucking awesome. At some point, the train starts to slow down. You know, there's this rails thing, they have to move, change, like whatever. I don't know the science behind the trains, but basically what we see is it's starting to get a little bit slower. Not slow, slower, important wording. Michael opens the door from the wagon, and I see like the sound that you know from the action movies, and you never believe that you will see it in real life. It slows down a little bit, and at some point we see the train station is getting really, really far away. And Michael says, "Ignacy, we need to jump." I said, "Dude." And Michael, "Now or never." And he jumps out of the train. I am not the first person in this train. I am the only person in this fucking train. It's moving somewhere. Michael is outside. I jump. That probably was my most brave action in my life. I jump. We are in the middle of nowhere. All around us rails. All around us different wagons and trains. The train station half a mile from us. And we see the lights. And we have like 20 minutes to get in time to the right train to home. So we take our backpacks and we run like crazy through race, between trains. God, that's good that nobody shot us, because there was like violating all the laws about being safe at the train station. Finally, we made it. We made it to the train. We made it home. And now, 21 years later, I have this amazing story that has no bottom line except the fact that yes, things were different a bit before smartphones, before internet, before double checking where are you actually sitting. So this is one of the stories from Portal Games history. More to come in a moment, but to just give a perception, to give a perspective to all the viewers, all of you, let me tell you what does it mean to have the company that has 20 years of the history. So this is how we were storing data. No Dropbox, no Google Docs, no clouds, floppy disk. Yes, this is Gulaki. Gulaki is a game I designed. It was never published. Good for you, because it wasn't super awesome. But this is how we stored data. I have with me, I had somewhere like, oh yes, I have it here. Back then, when we were receiving materials from writers, not all of them had a computer at home. So here's an example, like a real example from past. This was submitted to us and written on the type machine. Like, this is stuff. Like, I know that you youngsters think that type machines is like a 19th century thing. No, it happened 20 years ago. No, not every of the writers for us had a computer back then. So this is that. I also, before emails, because we're talking really all the time, before spam, before Facebook ads, before YouTube ads, before all that jazz, we were receiving the offers for a fax marketing. And here is an example. I kept it because I knew it will be very important for me 20 years later when I do a stand-up. Fax, mailing. They have a database of 500,000 numbers of fax machines in Poland, and they were offering us to promote board games to random fax machines in Poland. So this is like, that's what mean history of Portal Games that has 20 years. Most of these stupid stories that we had at the beginning of the company were all because I had no money, because we were poor. There was just me and Michael Oracz, two dudes who had dreams, who wanted to achieve something in their life, and we were struggling. We are writing role-playing games, they were not selling, so we wrote more, the more was not selling, and it was always a struggle. And during this struggle, there were funny moments. I mean, once again, they are funny today, not that funny back then. One day, we are sitting in the office writing this role-playing game that will never sell. The doors open, and two dudes enter the office, and they are like taken, like picked and put in my office from the action movie, and they were these guys who play Russian mafia. Like, they are really very high, very big, look very angry at the very beginning, and one of these dudes can even read, the other I'm not sure, but the one, he takes the paper and he reads like, "Is this Portal Games office. And so this is the moment when each of us, like everybody on this planet, is about to say this amazing joke that goes like, no, second door on the left. The dude would go, learn that it was a joke, he comes back and punches you in the face. So I didn't wait for the joke, I regret it after these 20 years because it would be so funny. But I say yes, this is Portal Games. And so he goes on with the reading competition, looking for Ignacy Trzewiczek. Is that you? This is the moment when you think if you want to give the right answer or the bad answer. But you figure out that at any point there will be a punch in the face. So I say yes. The other dude, not educated one, is in the Terminator mode. So he is I'm looking at him and he is scanning whole office and checking the black market prices from our computer, for our scanner, for our monitors, for my kidney, for my liver. He is scanning. And the educated dude is continuing reading. You own that much money to the manufacturer. We came to collect the debt. Do you have cash on you or not? And this is the moment when I realize that I'm gonna be punched in the face. It's gonna hurt. This is very awkward situation. This is a Hollywood movie happening in my office, and this is really, really bad. And that's not the end of the surprises, because when I think if I should run, or if I should scream, or if I should negotiate, or if I should play like a stupid guy, or crazy, or if I should say a joke, Michael Oracz stands from the desk, approaches the dude, and says something like, "Hey, you're from Tony the Bold? How are you? I know Tony." And the dude says, yeah, I'm from Tony the Bold. And Michael goes, yeah. And Michael points at me, like I'm watching the scene. And Michael is pointing at me and goes like, he owns Tony the Bold the money? That sucks. And makes fun of me. And the other dude is laughing as well. Very funny. And they start chit-chatting. And Michael is chit-chatting with these dudes. I barely listen. I barely understand what's happening. I listen something like, yeah, we will find the money. I will talk with him. Don't worry. And somehow Michael convinced these dudes that Michael will collect the money and he will bring it to Tony the Bold. The guy says, okay, take care, see you. And they leave the office. And I'm sending Michael Oracz in the office. This is the precise reason why the phrase, what the fuck just happened, was invented. Like, this is the moment in the history of the world that when I use this phrase, it makes a perfect sense. So I ask Michael Oracz, what the fuck just happened? And Michael looks at me and says, Ignacy, we need to get this money. This is serious. And we did. And I borrowed the money and I paid this manufacturer. And we never worked with this manufacturer again because they were not very understanding for the small company with the delays of the payment. And what actually happened was that Michael Oracz was working with me. We were poor as mouse, so I had no money, I had no salary. Michael had no money, Michael had no salary. We were working for free at Portal Games back then. So Michael had a second job. In the nights and the afternoons after he finished at Portal Games, he worked for the ads agency. And they were doing some flyers, etc., etc. And this ads agency was owned by a very shady businessman, Tony the Bold. And Michael happened to know him. What's even more, and what's crazy, Michael was editor for Tony the Bold of 2 magazines, because Tony the Bold was the owner of 2 magazines, nationwide magazines, and Michael was doing them and preparing the files and sending to the print. So he knew Tony the Bold very well. The first magazine, Be With Me, was called Behind the Bars, and it was the official Polish magazine for the prison industry. The other magazine that Michael was preparing to print for Tony the Bold was Necropolis, and it was the official magazine of the funeral industry. And because Michael is very kind and he is very good with chit chats and socializing, he knew Tony the Bold very well, and he saved my life. He saved his leg probably and his liver, and we survived. And once again, 20 years ago, amazing story. Back then, not fun at all, having mafiosos in our offices collecting debts. But once again, we had no money, we had dreams, we had hopes, we had believed that at some point we will do the product that will be successful, and at some point we will have money. the struggle for looking for more income, more revenue, more, to have some cash. In short, brilliant story is about how I invented mini American size cards before FFG. Sorry FFG, but I was first. It was 2002. For the first time, or one of the first times, I went to the manufacturer. Like, I saw how the games are produced, and I, for the first time in my life, saw how the cards are produced. Like, they are put on a big paper board, and that's how they printed. And I looked at this board. I'm a creative person, so I look at this board. I see all these cards on this paper, and I'm thinking, like, if we shrink this card twice, I could fit twice as many cards on this paper board, have twice as many decks for the same price. How cool is that? So I came back to office and I told Michael, the next reprint we do for the game was called Zombiaki. It's in the top 10 worst games designed by the famous designers, according to Z. Garcia. He knows no shit about the good board games. Anyway, back to the topic. So I convinced Michael Orach, shrink the files, send them for the reprint as the smaller ones, and we will have twice as many cards for the same price. That's awesome. And Michael agreed because we needed cash, and we did it. And we printed the cards that were half the size of the regular cards. The problem was that it was a reprint. So already on the market there was a game with the regular size cards. What's more, we didn't have money for the new box, so we had the same old box with the regular size of the cards. And when the customer opens this box, he found out that in this amazing box, the cards are half of the size. Super awesome. So what I had to do was to come out with this marketing idea, how to explain to customers what the hell is happening. You guys know I'm good in marketing, right? Board games that tell stories. I was lucky. Let's start with that. I was lucky. Tables in every single Polish school had fixed dimensions by the government, one size for the table for every school in Poland. Believe it or not, but this game, Zombiaki, when you set it up, it matched perfectly the size of these tables. That's me being lucky. And now me being smart. So I wrote a press release and sent out everywhere where I was able to send, with the information that Portal Games is happy to announce that we are preparing a special Zombiaki School Edition, this edition for players, so they are able finally to take the game to school and play between lessons. To have this game in your pocket, in your backpack, at school, play with your friends. Now we are doing it for you, School Edition, especially for you. Sales 300% up. Everybody's buying School Edition. Everybody's going with the game to the school, showing to their teammates, classmates. Everybody's discovering this amazing game. We have kids playing the game in the schools in Poland like crazy. Sales go up. Nobody questions the idea. Because marketing is always about stories. And if you have a good story, if you have a convincing story, you can do even something like that. Print smaller cards and sell it as an amazing idea. And so that's what I did. In 2002, finally we started earning some money. That was good. But what I learned from this experience, the most important message that I learned from this experience was that in a marketing, the narration, the story is everything. And I'm looking at Steven. This is a great example. You can say that he is old, or you can say that he is an industry veteran. Steven, you are the industry veteran. This is the story that you want to tell. This is the story that you want to promote. Industry veteran. I have this problem when there is a real stand-up, like there's a real stand-upper. They have these amazing, segues from the one joke to the other joke. And this is the part I need to practice. So we were talking about the Zombiaki. We were talking about debt collectors. Yeah, we can talk about another example when I created a story. Impossible one. So it's 2006. Portal Games releases the first edition of Neuroshima Hex. This is the box. This is the game. 2006 board games scene in Poland is not existing, and by not existing, I mean literally. There is no single geek, fantasy, science fiction hour game released. We are the first ones. All the board games in Poland released in 2006 are mass market crap, like Monopoly, Scrabble, etc. There is no single geeky board game. We are the first. There is no market, nobody knows what is that. For us, for the geeks, we have the same perception as these muggles, these normal people. Board games are for kids. Nobody understands, nobody believes that there may be a geeky game. Back then in the 70s, 80s, when you guys had the Avalon Hill games, we had the communism and tanks on the streets. We didn't have board games. So board game concept is something incredibly new, believe it or not. And we believe we have amazing board game. We believe that we can revolutionize industry. We believe we can change the industry. We believe that we can do something extraordinary. So we print 1,500 copies of this game. 1,500 copies. How stupid I was. We sold 200 and we have 1,300 copies sitting in the warehouse. And by warehouse I mean sitting in the office, because back then Portal was very small. We didn't need warehouse whatsoever. So all these games are just in a stack in the office. My desk, Michael Orac's desk, and the ton of Narushima Hex. Amazing view. In a very famous interview, Michael, or in Polish, but you can Google it and translate. Michael Orac once said that he precisely remembers these days when the whole office was in these Narushima Hex boxes. The game was not selling. He was entering office every single morning, making himself a coffee, sitting at a table, and the only thought he had starting the day was, what have I done? I killed the company. That was our perception back then. Like, we believe that this is going to be end. This is something that will kill the company, because we printed 1,500 copies of the game. The game is not moving, and we have no money to pay for the manufacturer. Yeah, I didn't pay for the manufacturer. I didn't have money. I hoped that I will sell the product and then I will sell. That was a bad business idea. So we have the manufacturer calling us for money. We have retailers not calling us to reorder the game. We have the whole office with these games, and we need to survive. I knew that I have to do a sale. Like, I have to move the product. I have to get rid of this product at this very moment. Either we sell the product for any price, or we are dead. And at the same time, I knew that we were hoping to do something innovative. We hope that we have this idea that will change the industry. We knew that this is one of the many ideas that we have that will push everything forward for us and for the whole industry. And it would be terrible for us to announce officially that the game is on sale. It was a failure. It was a bad idea. It will destroy and influence all our future ideas. So I knew I have to move the product, and I knew that there is no way I can say openly that it was a failure. So it is time for Ignacy, the marketing dude, to prepare a lie. This is not a board game stand-up. This is a board games roast of Ignacy Trzewicek, I guess. So I prepared press release. I sent out, once again, everywhere, in the internet, to the retailers, to the distribution, everywhere, that we are really thankful for the feedback on Narushima Hex. We appreciate how fans reacted to this innovative product. We cannot say enough how we are happy with the sales and how the game is doing well. And we are happy to announce that we are doing a follow-up product in this successful line, and we are doing Narushima Hex Lite special 2-player variant in this successfully well released game. And we are going to release this product in 4 weeks. Narushima Hex Lite, second game in the line, accept that. And what we already did was that we took all these 1,300 copies of the game. We unshrinked every single copy. Believe it or not, we took out 2 armies from the box. We kept the other 2 armies in the box. We closed the box. We printed on our office printer a sticker that says Narushima Hex Lite. We put the sticker here. We shrink it back. I created a new sell sheet. Narushima Hex Lite, half of the price of the regular game. Order it today. And we sell the sell sheets. And we said we are ready. This is a new product. Believe it or not, somehow everybody believed that. Believe it or not, stores started to order this because it was very cheap. It was half the price of the full game. Believe it or not, fans start to buying it because it was very cheap for the half of the price. Believe it or not, people love the game and start talking about the game, start recommending them the game. And in 2 months, we sold out the whole print run, and suddenly everybody in Poland, 1,500 people, were playing Narushima Hex. The game got amazing reviews, everybody was exciting, and we were able to finally do a reprint for the full price that is called Narushima Hex, not Narushima Bullshit Light. So this is a perfect example of well-executed marketing lie. And on one hand, I'm not proud of myself. You should not lie. On the other hand, I didn't, do any damage to anybody. It was just to save the company. We just had to sell the game, and we just set the price half. We said it is a great idea, and we sold out. We survived. I saved the company. The game became phenomenal. This September, Portal Games is releasing 18th army for the game, 18th expansion for the game. It became our longest bestseller, tournaments, fan base, amazing feedback. Back then, with Michael Orach sitting at the desk, seeing all these boxes not moving and thinking about that he killed the company, I wish I had this teleporter to meet him and tell him Michael will be fine and this game will become the most successful Polish design in the history, because that's what happened for Narushima Hex in Poland. So yes, this is once again a story about creating marketing message out of nothing to win your attention. About Narushima Hex I could talk a lot. It was the first board game released in Poland in a geeky market. We knew no shit about producing a board game, so we were as stupid as you can imagine. For example, we didn't figure out that the bottom of the box and this side should have the same dimension, so the box closes. So no, our has a different dimension. So that was this famous box. Everybody was laughing out of us that it doesn't close because we didn't know the dimensions should match. This is how stupid we were back then, 2005. But we survived. We grew. We do many other amazing projects. But if I can get this sideway with the how stupid we were, I can talk about the Glick operation. And Glick operation is the most famous. Let me start. So, it's year 2007. We have no money. The company is still in debt. We still struggle. We still try to sell role-playing games. We try to do some board games, but board game scene, as you know, doesn't exist in Poland, so it is very hard. And we decided we go for our first Essen Spiel 2007. We go with Narushima Hex. We will try to earn a lot of funds from all the Europe. And Essen Spiel takes place in Germany. And Ignacy, who has a lot of knowledge about the world, knew about Germany two things. In Germany they use euro, that is a very good currency. This is one fact I knew about the German people. And the second fact I knew about the German people was that they often come to Poland to visit Poland. They go to Krakow and they buy very expensive handmade wooden items. Like they appreciate handmade things. They appreciate these classical, amazing, elegant wooden pieces, like chess sets or something like that. So I figured out I will grab this German euro by selling them something expensive and wooden. And that's how I came up with this idea that Portal Games will produce a wooden game. I knew no shit about producing wooden games. Basically, I had no... What can I say? I never produced a wooden game. But what I knew was that Germany is rich. They have a euro. And to create a wooden game, I need the wood. And then somehow it will work out. Back then we had this game released in Poland that didn't sell whatsoever. It was called Glick, abstract game, no sales whatsoever, but we had the rules. So I figured out we will do the Glick game in a wooden edition. It's gonna be awesome. We will win the Essen and earn a lot of euro. I went to the company that sells wood. I started negotiating very openly. What's the cheapest wood you have? He showed me the palette of plywood. Plywood, I guess you know, is the shit that you use in a renovation and then you destroy. How much is that? 50 euro. I take everything. So I took the whole palette of plywood, big boards, like they were like bigger than that, like a huge wooden boards that mostly are used in renovations. I bought it, and so we had the wood. The first step achieved. Then I figured out now we need to print on this wood game mechanism. We need to print the actual boards. A friend of mine had this small company that was doing t-shirts. Tees. Back then, as you remember, like 10 or 15 years ago, everybody has this dude who was doing t-shirts. They had these screen printing machines, very cheap, and they were just screen printing on the t-shirts. So I sent to my dude, my friend, hey, I have this plywood. You have this screen printing machine. That's gonna be fun. He said, no, that's not gonna be fun. I said, yeah, it's gonna be fine. We put these wood pieces. You will do this screen printing, and we'll have a board. That's awesome. I convinced him for a couple of days because he was resistant, but I never take no for the answer. So of course I convinced him at some point. He agreed. He screen printed all the boards, and we have the whole palette of the plywood with the board printed. That's cool. That's the second step. There was once one problem, quite a major problem. Michael Orach sent to my friend the wrong file, so we have the whole palette of plywood with the wrong board, and that was bad. I already invested €50. I am not stacking back. So I went to the company that sells wood. I said, the one that you sold me last time, amazing, I love it, the best plywood probably in Poland. I want more. Do you have more? Yes, I have more. What's the price? €50. I take it all. And so I have the second pallet of plywood. The first one, the wrong boards, ended up at my home. And here's inside knowledge from Ignacy for all of you who have chimney. Plywood, chimney, amazing. It's great for the starter because it has this glue, because it's a plywood, so it has a glue. It smells terrible, but it starts the fire very quickly. So this is my insight for you. Anyway, so the one part of the Glick game in my chimney the whole winter. The other one, we have the number one. Now we send the right file. My friend is screen printing, and after a week we have the whole palette of the plywood with the actual board. But it's fucking big, so we have to cut it. Of course, I have no money to, hire the company to cut it, so we have to do it ourselves. So I go to Polish eBay and I look for the saws, and I found a very cheap second-hand band saw. I don't know if you know how the band saw looks like, so my post-production will now put it right that. This is the stuff that I bought. It looks very dangerously. It probably is very dangerous. But whatever, we are going for German Euro. We are not stepping down. So I brought this bandsaw to the office, so you can imagine the environment we were working with. Desk of Michael Orach with the monitor and his PC, my desks, printer, scanner, bandsaw. How epic is that? And we have this palette of plywood, and we start testing the bandsaw. The bandsaw is when you don't know what you are doing, it may be very dangerous because it goes very fast, and if you do it wrong, it breaks and it changes into like a dangerous, I would say, scorpion, like this, and you may lose your fingers. I was afraid of that. I was never a very brave person, so I had, for the first time, it's 2007, the company is 8 years old. For the first time in the history of the company, I played the Joker. I played the card that says, I'm the boss. So I told Michael Orach, Michael, Essen is coming, I'm the boss, I need to prepare, I need to do all this paperwork, I need to do invoicing, I need to do orders, like this is a very responsible thing, so you keep cutting the boards and let me do the business. That was a lie, of course. But Michael had to do this. So you can imagine this amazing designer, one of the brilliant people I ever met, standing 8 hours a day in front of the bandsaw and doing a That was awesome times at Portal Games. If you ever did any renovation, you probably can be with me right now, because you can imagine if you're cutting the wood in the office, there is some dust, like everywhere. So after these few days, we had all these boards cut, we had all our fingers attached, so that was a good thing, and the whole office looked like the bomb of dust just landed. So we have my desk, Michael Orach desk, our printer, our scanner, our PCs, and dust everywhere. We are all in the dust. I'm not giving up. German Euro. We are coming. These boards from plywood looked like shit. Like you can imagine, they were small, they were pale, like it was not very good. But Ignacy never gives up. So I went to the store, I bought a brush, I bought a brown paint, I came to the office and I said, Michael, we need to paint all of that. And we did. So you can imagine the office and us, it was like a kindergarten, basically, like two stupid dudes sitting in the office, all in the dust, and painting these boards with the brown paint. I wish I have some photos, because that was, you can imagine. But we did it. We painted all of them, we put them into the box, and we are ready to conquer Germany in terms of getting their money to our account. There was one small problem. The box. So we prepared this amazing box, as you can see, Gelick wooden game, and it says ein elegantes, intelligentes Gesellschaftsspiel. So it means it's fucking awesome. And it was a good plan to sell it. We might made one small mistake, and it's all because of the mathematics, it's all because of dimensions and sizes and calculating, and in my defense, I never finished the college, I dropped the college. So Michael was preparing that. We have cover here, we have cover here, we have cover here, but we did some small mistake with the size of the paper, so there was no paper here. So it was epic box if you look like that. For me, this is a minor issue. This is like a super simple thing. When the customer approaches you at SN, you give him the product like that, and when he touches it, you leave it, sold. So no German customer ever saw it before buying. I think we went to the Essen, we sold all 300 copies of the game, we made it, we were rich, we had this German Euro, and then we just had to clean the office. And Michael Orch said, never again, and he get rid of the bandsaw, so we just throw it away. I promise Michael Orch that we will never again do something like that. Actually, we did. But well, that's another story. So this is us doing the first wooden game from the plywood in the office, and this is what happened. This is yes, that's it shows you the level of what morons we were back then. I'm looking here because I have time. I see Steven still enjoying the show, but I know that at some point we will have to finish. But let me tell you a story about once again about this amazing game Zombiaki, because as I said, I invented the mini American standard before FFG. I did it in 2002, but I also invented unique deck system before FFG. So sorry, Richard Garfield, in your face, I was the first. It was Zombiaki. So back then, when we were printing board games, we were using some crappy manufacturers. So when we were printing the game, we were receiving them not as a whole deck, but every single card from the game was delivered to our office in a separate box. So we had like a box with 1,000 copies of the zombie, 1,000 copies of dog, 1,000 copies of grenade, 1,000 copies of the shot, 1,000 copies of the other zombie. Like we had all these 80 boxes, and each box had the 1,000 cards. And what we were doing when any retailer, any game store ordered a few copies of Zombiaki, like for example, they ordered 10 copies of Zombiaki, I was taking one card from this box, one card from this box, one card from this box, two cards from this box, one card from this box, and I was completing these decks by myself, putting it in the box, shrinking. We had a shrinking machine in the office, and I was sending it to the retailer. And as you can imagine, Ignacy, back then, 2002, sitting with Michael Orch in the office, talking about role-playing games, talking about the movies. This is the times when, believe it or not, The Lord of the Rings enters the movies and theaters. This is the time when Gladiator was a new movie and a hot movie. So we are discussing, we are living our life, we are enjoying our creation process. So what I'm trying to say, I was not very focused when I was completing these decks. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that there was no single deck collected as the game was tested, as the game was balanced as it should be. I was always taking too many zombies, or not enough grenades, or too many dogs. Like, it was always some small mistake. But remember, because this is the main message of this roast. Marketing and the message is everything. So back then, before Facebook groups, before internet forums, there was something else how people communicate, and only youngsters will, only older people like Steven will remember that. Email discussion lists. I don't know if you remember how it worked. It worked like that you were signed up for this email discussion list. And that means that if you send email to this discussion list, this email will be forwarded to all people who are signed up. So if Polish role-playing games group had 500 members, that means that if I send the email to this group, 500 people receive this email. And one of these dudes responds, and 500 people get this response. And 2 people are responding, so 500 people get this. There was a spam that we all loved. Like, we all received hundreds of emails per week. We were very happy. They were make no sense because some random people were discussing, and we were getting it to our inbox, and we were happy. This is a time, and this is all time. We are no longer happy when we receive an email, but back then it was awesome to get so many emails in our inbox. So now you can imagine the customer, for example, from Krakow, buys this game. It has far too many grenades, because I was talking about the Gladiator with Michael Orage, and I forget that I should have only 1 grenade instead of 5. So the guy has 5 grenades in the deck, and he wrote something like, I played this zombiaki game, humans always win, I have 20 games already, zombie never won, this game is unbalanced, it sucks. And there's this other dude from Warsaw who bought the game, and back then I was talking with Michael Orage about the Lord of the Rings, and I put far too many zombies in the deck, because I was talking with Michael and I was not focused. And this dude says, what you are saying, I played this game 50 times, humans won on it twice, you need to learn how to play it, because in my experience zombies always win. And the other dude from Poznań is writing, guys, I played with my sister, zombies always win. It's obvious. The humans are very, very weak in this game. There's a dude from Wrocław who says, no, zombies are not very powerful, humans always win. Everybody is talking, everybody is giving different answers. The perception and the message is, I designed the most balanced game in the history of Poland. This is how you do it. This is how you do a marketing message. In fact, the game in this clean version was indeed balanced. The real version, not so much, but well. In the perception of people reading all these emails, this guy says only humans win, this guy says only zombies win. Apparently this is a well-balanced game. Kudos to Ignacy. Thank you for that. So this is how I designed a unique deck game. Zombiaki before Keyford, before Richard Gaffey, before FFG, in your face. We received many emails back then from the customers who were confused about the balance of the game, so they were sending us email, hey, I bought this game of yours, I played it many times, zombies always win, can you advise on a strategy? And we had the prepared copy-paste, the answer, and the reply for the customer was very simple. Would you be able to send us a list of the cards you have in your copy? And he was sending us the list of the cards, and I said, oh yeah, sure. And I sent him back, if you remove these 5 grenades, the game will be balanced. Have fun. Unique game system, 2002. Inventor. So yeah, all good times. Today it's all funny, today it's all colorful stories. Back then, not so much. I think we have like 5 minutes left, so let's wrap it up with this dreadful story from one convention. So we started in Szczecin with the first story of the seminar, and let's go to the last story of the seminar. Another convention. The convention is called Pyrkon. It takes place in Poznań, and it is the year 2001. In 2001, we received email from the convention that says we are Pyrkon, we are convention from Poznań, and we would like to invite Portal Games as a guest for our convention. We offer hotel and seminar. We would be very honored if you visit us. And this is the moment when I say, Michael, we are finally famous. Somebody invited us. Somebody wants us to be at the convention. This is it. Finally, the whole work paid off. We will be celebrities at the convention. So I replied to the convention, yes, of course, we want to be there. We will be there. Absolutely, yes, we will be there. and I sent it twice, just to be on the sure side. So, convention, we go to Poznan, we are very excited, we are at the registration, we take our badge, we take our goodie box, that kind of stuff. We double check where's the seminar. I asked about the hotel. The girl said the hotel is on the other side of the street. I asked what's the name on the reservation. She said there's no reservation. I say, but in the email you said you offer the hotel, and she says, yeah, we offer that. We will show you where the hotel is. That was unfortunate. 2001. No way me or Michael Oracz can afford hotel. Like, this is out of our budget by mile. I always have a backup plan, so I had sleeping bag. Michael did not. But whatever, we will. Don't worry, Michael, it will be fine. Now, the most important, meet fans, go to seminar. We go to the seminar, we meet our fans, it's amazing. And then there's afternoon, and then there's the evening, and then we still are poor and have no money for the hotel. The convention took place in a school. Back then in Poland, many conventions took place in the schools. So when we were very tired, I decided, okay, Michael, let's find a classroom, some silent classroom somewhere, and we'll just sleep there. I have no other options. I cannot afford hotel. We found a classroom. I put my sleeping bag next to the radiator, so it's not that cold. Michael had no sleeping bag, so he found a table. He lies on the table. I lie on the floor. At this very moment, I'm not a huge fan of the convention. I'm quite pissed off, but I'm also tired, so I'm trying to sleep. At some point, the lights are on. I wake up, and there is 20 vampires rushing into the room. Vampires. And I'm like, what's going on here? And the dude approaches us and says, this is a LARP room. We are playing a live action role-playing game, Vampire Masquerade. This is a vampire room. Get off. And I'm like, but I'm a guest of honor. Get off, this is a LARP room. I'm a special guest. Get off. So I'm taking my sleeping bag. I hate Percon, by the way. I'm taking my sleeping bag. Michael is taking his table, and we are moving out. I found a corridor. I put my sleeping bag again next to the radiator. Michael parked his table, and we tried to sleep again. Michael had, as I said, nothing. So he just was sleeping on his back with his hands like that because it was quite cold, and he tries to sleep. It's not that easy. I hear some steps. I turn out. I see two vampires approaching Michael Oracz, and I hear something like that. Are you the Prince of Darkness? This is the moment when Michael Oracz should punch them into the face. But Michael is a very kind person. He really is. So he's just, no, I'm not playing this LARP. No, I'm not playing. And they're like, oh, sorry. And they are leaving. 2 minutes later. Are you the Prince of Darkness? No, I'm not playing. There's 20 fucking vampires in this room next to us. So another group. Are you? No, I'm not playing. And the story goes on. It's quite funny today, not funny whatsoever back then. But at some point I hear a different dialogue. And the dialogue goes like, I think this is a Prince of Darkness. What should we do? And the other voice says, no discussion. We resurrect. And I turn and I see 4 vampires leaning over sleeping Michael Oracz with a bottle of water, like that. And they spill the whole bottle of water on sleeping Michael Oracz. I promise you, this is the moment when the LARP was ended, when punching in the face started, and this is quite a story in Polish fandom. We never came back for Percon like for 15 years. Like, I was at Percon for the first time like 3 years ago. Like, we really took with Michael Oracz quite a time to chill down about this event. Today it's quite a fun story. Back then, no hotel room, no bed, all covered with the freaking water. Not funny whatsoever, but it happened. This is the Prince of Darkness, Michael Oracz story. But this is one of these amazing examples how far we had to go to be at the moment when we are right now. Back then, just two dudes without any money, with dreams, with hopes, struggling, trying to grow the fan base, trying to learn how to design games, trying to know how to produce games without having a band. So in the office, we are doing our best, and here we are. And I always say at these seminars, if this is possible to get back in time, if I can teleport myself and meet this young Ignacy and tell him, dude, you are stupid, but keep doing, because it makes sense. At some point you will make it, and at some point you will be in Berlin and a ceremony for Spiel des Jahres for the game you designed, Detective. Or if we can meet Michael Orach and say, dude, it's gonna be hard, but you will make it. And in 2019, your game Atrophies will get few millions of dollars on the Kickstarter, the platform that doesn't exist yet, but you will learn that. We would not believe. We were just hoping for just have a simple salary, to have simple sales, to just made it from day to day.